is the CBC Evening News.
A very good evening to you. I'm Sophie Cambridge with this Monday, July 6th edition of the CBC Evening News. Hundreds of public sector workers marched through the streets of the city as part of a national protest called by the National Union of Public Workers today. It was called as a result of the dispute between the NUPW and the Barbados Investment and Development Corporation over the retirement of 13 employees, all of whom had reached the age of 60. Kishmar Saint-Just was there and he filed this report.
The placards show the sentiments of the striking workers. These, along with chanting and singing, set the mood for the hundreds who took part. The demonstration got underway just after 9, with the marchers making their way from Queen's Park, through sections of the city, past the BIDC and the Bridgetown Port, before winding down at the NUPW headquarters. Workers from government entities such as the Sanitation Service Authority, Customs, CBC, and the National Assistance Board took part. At the end, Acting NUPW General Secretary Rosalind Smith made it clear the letters sent to the BIDC workers must be retracted before any further discussions. She says workers must not be forced into retirement.
Those persons at the statutory boards can opt to work until 67. If you force me into retirement, you have to be prepared to pay me pension and salary until I reach that age. So you either pull back the letters or agree to pay the workers as if they had retired at 67.
BW boss Tony Moore says other entities which were not called out today support the action and are ready to march. She dismissed the naysayers, stressing that the trade union movement is strong.
Our action today is not about 13. The 13 at IDC may be perceived as the straw that brought the camel's back. But our issue today that we took to the streets with was an issue of disrespect. The issue of justice was one which we were representing, and a more important issue for the trade union movement was one of unity.
NUPW President Akani McDowell says today's march is just phase 1.
I am calling on all councillors, shop stewards, and divisional leaders and division members to a meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m. We will give you phase 2. Do not feel because we are not marching tomorrow, though, that nothing is happening.
The NUPW was supported by various other unions, staff associations, and organizations, along with members of the opposition BLP. Kishmar Saint-Just, CBC News.
Thank you, Kishmar. And in the meantime, the president of the Congress of Trade Unions and Staff Associations, or C2SAB, Cedric Murrell, wants a complete review of the Public Service Act.
The Congress 2 years ago submitted a 58-page document for changes to that act. Up until now, we have had no effective meetings to be able to address that. And I want to say to you that that is one of the injustices.
And General Secretary of the Unity Workers Union, Caswell Franklin, describes the action by the NUPW as just. He says workers have rights and there are laws which must be followed.
If NUPW were not on the right track, Caswell Franklin would not be here today. I am fully in support of what is happening at NUPW in respect of these workers. When NUPW ain't pleased me, you hear me cancel them. No, they are right. I will say to you, they are 100% right.
Well, in other news now, the Minister of Culture, Stephen Lashley, says that his ministry has not given up on the Cahoblapot event. Speaking on CBC's Festival Stage program this morning, the Culture Minister explained that the NCF has invited the private sector to host the event over the past 3 years and intends to do so again next year. He adds that efforts will be made to return the event to its cultural roots as well.
We have not surrendered the Cahoblapot brand. What we will do as soon as the festival is over, we will again invite the private sector promoters to submit proposals for the convening, the holding of Cohabla Pot in its authentic way. We want to get back to what Cohabla Pot used to be.
And the ministers also reiterated calls for more private sector involvement in the festival.
In January of this year, I said, this year the NCF will be producing only one major cavalcade along with its partners. So private sector, I expect to hear from you. You know, we have not had any additional cavalcade to the major one we've had.
Interesting.
So I think we have to also take charge of this thing. And I expect and hope that when we put Cohabla Pot out there for the next year, that we would not have somebody saying, what happened to Cohabla Pot? Somebody would have taken up Cohabla Pot and returned it to where it really ought to be.
Wow.
We'll have more news in just a moment.
Fun never done. Ping pong, share smile with everyone. Share up that taste, not a chairs, must waste. Chuckles make you smile up. Start smiling. You got the fun. Charles Chocolates, for real chocolate lovers. Start smiling.
Hi, I'm Red Plastic Bag. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like cold. Sunshine reigns in my country. I love it.
It's your sun power.
The athletes, they had to market the Jordans, the Worlds, the Rolex. This town was driven by family. Into this modern day life, I scaling fish. I don't want my son to scale and go on the fish. I got a ram shot. I don't want my son to ram shot. You got a degree. Maybe you should run it by me because you got a degree.
Spikestown, a forgotten treasure, repeated on CBC TV8 and on the World Wide Web .cbc.bb, Tuesday at 8:05 p.m. Spikestown, a forgotten treasure.
There's a growing need for strong leadership in the local business sector. This from Minister of Labour Dr. Esther Bayer in her address at the opening ceremony for Occupational Safety and Health Week 2015. Ms. Bayer believes that productivity can only translate into profit if leaders show more appreciation for their employees.
Good leaders influence and motivate people. Moreover, good leaders understand the importance of people within organizations. Their leadership can turn failing companies into Fortune 500 organizations. They can change organizational cultures.
And also at that session, General Secretary of the Congress of Trade Unions and Staff Associations of Barbados, Dennis De Pisa, called on the Labour Department to enforce legislation to assist Barbados's labour force. He's lauded the efforts of the department in drafting important labour laws, but he believes that they are irrelevant without enforcement.
There's a responsibility to constantly review the social protection floor for the express purpose of ensuring that the basic social security guarantees, inclusive of health care and income security, are provided. In an environment where the economy is under stress and workers are facing several challenges, it becomes necessary that consideration is seriously given to improving the psychosocial working conditions and the psychological health of workers.
An increase in activity between Barbados and Panama is in the works. The message has come from Minister of Industry, International Business, Commerce and Small Business Development, Donville Innes. He says he recently spoke with the President of Panama and their discussions were very fruitful.
I can tell you that this government of Panama is very, very excited about deepening and strengthening relations with Barbados. And we too are just as excited about it. We have to really build upon the foundation laid with the number of Barbadians who traveled to Panama in the first half of the last century to build the Panama Canal, whose descendants have remained there and continue to make immense contribution to Panama. And there is the genuine interest, really genuine interest on the part of the Panamanian government to foster stronger relations.
And one of the areas that the two nations will be focusing on is English as a second language.
The University of West Indies, with the prior discussions with Panamanian authorities as recent as yesterday, around that, where we're looking to get Panamanian teachers of English in Panama further trained in Barbados, so we can have them return to Panama and up their game. And likewise, to accept that we have here in Barbados through the University of West Indies and the Barbados Community College, training opportunities for English to be taught as a second language to many of these folks, and we are going to move on that.
Well, organizers of the Junior Dueling Challenge are working to extend the competition to primary school students. The competition is now limited to secondary students, and executive producer Chef Peter Edie explains the pending shift stems from numerous requests from the public.
Junior, a primary school program is in the works, and that's being fueled by Heather Phillips Boyce. She was one of the people who started this program with me from year one. She used to be at the a school teaching course in Paris. Now she works in the Ministry of Education. So she's been fueling this program, trying to get the primary schools in. So you're going to see that pretty soon. And there'll be also a full pastry program as well. Of course, Roberts is our platinum sponsor, and they're behind this 100% as well.
And Chef Edie conceptualized the program a decade ago, and he says it's been successful as several of the past participants have excelled at their schools as well as in other competitions.
Today we have one of our special guests, Javon, coming, who represented Barbados in the pastry chef. He just won gold. He and Stephanie too. So in other words, 50% of the Barbados national team now came through this program. So that tells you. So every year now we train about 80 students to compete in this program. So it's a lot of training. 3 months of training go on before they actually get to enter the program. So it's a lot of work for them, and they really commit their time, and they're really interested in it.
Still to come, a look at some of the stories making headlines across the region.
Time is near for the world's greatest soca event.